providing live finance advice on WMAC since 1993. It's time for Your Money with Steve Rosenberg, Sherri Goss, and Randy Goss. To participate in today's program, call 478-742-0940 with your financial questions or comments. And now live from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia. Randy and Sherri Goss are here on Your Money. The phone number is 742-0940. If you'd like to participate in the show, call with a comment, a question, personal finance, anecdote, maybe something that you're doing that you want to share with other people that is helping you in retirement, or something that you're doing now to get out of debt. It could be anything. Anything regarding money. It's all good. How are you doing?
Me?
Are you awake?
I'm good. I'm on my third cup of coffee.
So the Just Tap Beer Festival is setting up on Poplar Street between 1st and 2nd. And if you own a black car or a silver truck that is parked on Poplar between 1st and 2nd, you better move it, because they're getting ready to shut the street down and you're going to be landlocked.
And that's a BMW 750 Li. So.
Yeah, and plus you're going to get a ticket on top of it, right? $50? I think it's $50, right? Or what's the ticket?
It's $25, but...
But you're sitting there all day, so what happens then?
It's still $25.
Anyways, you really need to move your car.
And there's these giant signs right in front of the car. It says no parking. That could be the worker down there working, though. So, I mean, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. But anyway,
They will tell you.
Just Tapped Beer Festival on 1st Street starts at 1 o'clock. There's supposedly 45 breweries, 90 beers, games for kids. They're setting up all these chairs and jumpy things. And
we're leaving town, though, because the concert stage is right outside of our
bedroom window. They're going to have a couple bands.
Hey, and next Friday is First Friday, so y'all come on out. There's a lot to do downtown Macon. It's a lot of fun. The art alliances. Got
to make it. So park near Poplar and 1st Street and start at Macon Arts Alliance and look at you get to meet the artists, you need to see their art, and it's really fun. We sponsor the food and drinks, and then walk down the street to the 567 Center, because we sponsor some food and drinks down there too, because we want people to come out and meet. It's so fun to meet artists and ask them questions about their work and understand what that is that they're doing. And you have people that are brand new artists, you have people that are seasoned artists. It's just a blast. And then you walk down Cherry to Travis Jean, who also does food and drinks and has gallery showings every first Friday.
The really cool thing is you get to, in a lot of these shops, you get to talk to the owners and get to know them a little bit. And there's a lot of great new restaurants that have popped up, more coming.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to do downtown. It's great for the family as well as just like, say, date night.
So the other thing going on this weekend, all weekend, is the Pan-African Festival, which is sponsored by the Tubman Museum. It's in Central City Park. It starts at noon today and tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot of people downtown, a lot of stuff to do. And if you don't, you could just come downtown. It's going to be beautiful and just sit outside and have a burger.
That's right.
Yeah, nice. Anyways, market closed yesterday at $29.39, and the September high on September 20th was $29.30. So we finally are back to where we were in September. And so if you had a bad year last year, didn't make any money, it's understandable, because fourth quarter last year took back the gains pretty much for everybody. But now we're finally back to where we were, and things are growing great. The VIX is volatility index is down to 12.73, which is down 4% yesterday. Lots of earnings reports this week and next week. The economy grew at 3.2% first quarter, which was the big story yesterday. And
I thought that couldn't be done, Sherri.
It did.
Wow.
It happened.
So stop listening to the news.
Oh, I meant to say this about this weekend, too, about coming downtown. Turn off the TV, get outside, and even if you're just by yourself, if you come downtown, I would suggest have lunch outside on 2nd Street and just pet all the dogs that go by. It's really relaxing.
It's a lot of fun.
So we do this everywhere we go. We pet everyone's dogs because they're just happy.
It's cheaper that way, too.
It's real cheap. Yeah, you don't even have to own a pet.
You don't
can
have
just
to clean
come
up
down.
after them.
There was one last night. It was so cute. It was in a baby stroller.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of Just Tapped. We were walking by, and this big dog is, I guess that's how they take it around everywhere, is in a big stroller. I guess it gets tired or something.
It was perfectly happy in there, too.
Maybe you petted that for a long time.
And they were from Florida. They were just up here visiting. They're doing the craft show. Or
in Perry, there's some big festival.
Like a big yard sale, an antique sale down at the fairgrounds this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. But anyways, yeah, petting other people's dogs is very peaceful and relaxing.
Then we go home and four cats start sniffing. It's like, what have you been doing?
Let me see. So I don't want to talk about that. Oh, gosh. Did you see that Amazon announced yesterday 1-day shipping?
How are they going to do this? That's phenomenal.
I've got to try it Monday. I've got to order something just to see if it actually shows up the next day.
Order something really heavy.
40 pounds of cat litter.
Yeah, they love it when you order that.
Yeah, I really quit doing that because I feel sorry for these guys.
But at least they come inside and say, which car do you want me to put it in?
Yeah. But I did last week. I ordered cat food and laundry detergent because I can get it half price because I'm buying in bulk. So why drive to the store and buy it and put it in my own trunk when it can show up? I don't know where this is headed. I don't understand how this is sustainable.
It's a big disruption in this market, and it's only going to get more dynamic as we go forward. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. So Xi Jinping made a speech yesterday and talked about Chinese domestic reforms, pledging to address state subsidies. Do you have this one?
Oh.
Okay, I didn't think you had it. State subsidies protect intellectual property rights, which is got to happen, and allowing foreign investment in more sectors and avoid competitive devaluation of the yuan. So these are all issues that are being addressed in our trade talks with them. So he's promised. His promises have been echoed by officials over the last few months, and China has taken several steps to address U.S. concerns, including passing a new foreign investment law that bans forced technology transfers. Trade negotiators led by our U.S. Trade Rep Robert Lighthizer return to Beijing next week as both sides work toward a face-to-face meeting between Trump and Xi, and they need to sign a deal. But this is the last holdout, is this intellectual property theft. And I've talked to all my clients about it, and a lot of them only hear negative things about Trump, like he's just a big bully. China is the bully. I'm sorry. He's stepping up to them and saying, no more. You're not going to steal our stuff anymore. You're not going to do patent infringement. We're going to put something in place to protect our intellectual property. And I think where this really hit a tipping point last year is when the concern came out of them stealing our military secrets.
Well, there was an article in Bloomberg where they actually took some of the circuit boards they were supposed to be creating for some company here, and they were embedding their own chip in it, which was gathering all kinds of intel on this company, as well as all the users that were using the circuit board.
So we can't have it. They have to stop it. Trump is trying to get our companies into China too. I mean, he tried to do this back the last time he went to China. He tried to get a couple of financial institutions into the country, and they were talking about it. And then the trade thing came up, and the whole thing blew up. So it sounds like we're getting closer. Every week we're getting a little bit closer, but they have to toe the line on the intellectual property theft.
And this is not about being Republican, Democrat, or anything else. It's about being American and protecting our
business
our
interests.
business is here because it affects us. It affects everyone.
Well, the whole world should be standing up to them, and
they are. There's a lot of countries that have stepped up and are echoing what the Trump.
I don't see it.
Oh, they have.
I saw Germany one time said something. I mean, that's about it.
I mean, we're not talking every country, but a lot of the countries in the European bloc have said, we agree with what's going on here, and they're trying to hold China to the same standards.
Good. I like it. So one last thing about the economy. Wage growth over the past few months has moved firmly above 3% on a year-over-year basis. Strong wage improvement provides the right ingredients for inflation pressure. As more people make more money, and on top of that, oil prices are going up, gas prices are going up, that creates inflation because it causes the price of everything. When more people make more money and spend more money, you create demand for product, and when you create demand, that creates inflation just because there's demand. I mean, it's just the law of finance. New claims for unemployment insurance are an important indicator of the underlying strength in the labor market. Currently, the 4-week moving average has reached the lowest level since 1969, which has been for about a month or two. A strong positive signal for the economy. A tight labor force requires corporations to increase compensation in order to ensure that employees remain with the company. This decreases corporate earnings growth and puts downward pressure on profit margins. So I met with someone this week, and we were just talking through all the numbers and everything and their kids. And I like to talk about, when I meet with somebody, I like to understand, do they have living parents? Are the living parents going to need financial help from them? Do they have children? Are their children depending on them for financial assistance? So I get the whole picture of a person and their life, because you cannot just look at an individual and their finances in a vacuum.
In a vacuum, right.
You have to see the whole thing.
Go ahead.
So they were telling me about their son who graduated from high school, and he got hired by some company. There's some big company that's building cloud storage out near Madison. And he said they're huge buildings, and they hired him to pick up trash.
At the construction site.
And just to clean up for $17 an hour, which you figured that's like $35,000 a year
and change.
To pick up trash. And I don't know if it's because it's a secure location or why they're paying him $17 an hour, but I was blown away at that.
Well, it's probably cheaper to pay him to keep the construction site clean than paying workers, construction workers who are getting paid, say, $20 an hour or $25 an hour.
Okay.
And it's, when you have a big construction site like that, it can get just torn up, just junk left everywhere. Look at one house when you see it being built. There's wood.
That's a mess.
It's a mess. There's wood. There's construction pieces everywhere. So it's a good thing to have him out there doing that. He's probably not the only one doing it either.
But he had that $17 an hour plus benefits for picking up trash.
Wow!
I thought that was amazing, because I don't know how these companies are going to fill these positions, and we're going to get into that. So you want to take it away from here?
Sure. Before I go on, I'd like to say congratulations to you, Sherri, for you had a
at
room
the library
dedicated to you at the Macon Bibb Library up here on
the
College
Washington
Street.
Library.
And as you're actually on the leaders. Leaders in Literacy.
So let me explain this.
Yeah, please. I'm struggling here. Congratulations anyway.
So about a year or two ago, I had Jennifer Lautzenheiser on this radio show, and we've replayed the show a couple times because it was just so amazing. She's the most amazing librarian I've ever met in my life. I didn't know people like this existed. I'm used to, when I grew up, you had a librarian that was kind of crabby, and they kind of sat behind a counter.
She's the happiest librarian I've ever
met.
Right?
Yeah. So you go to the library, you check out a book. If it's late, then they're like, your book is late, fine. I mean, that's kind of my memory of a library. And then
give me 25 cents for that late book.
And then later in life, when I was getting my master's degree and we were in Spain, I'd go to the library and do my research and stuff. And they were a little more helpful because you had internet access and computers and things that I could use to help me do my homework and write papers.
Okay, Sherri,
and
it was called microfiche back then.
Anywho, but morphing forward to today, they're doing so much outreach that it's just crazy, because they have to be different to reach the needs of people in this.
That's right.
The world we live in. So they invited me to come on the board. And then she asked me to be fundraising chair last year, which I said, yeah, absolutely, I'm all for it. And so we needed to set up an account at the Community Foundation of Central Georgia so that people could donate to a nonprofit, and so the money would be held away from the library. And the benefit of opening an account at the Community Foundation is it's a nonprofit, they hold the money, and then they distribute it over time. So they will distribute it in a 4% increments annually. The money is managed by a financial firm out of New York that I have no control over. That's who they use. And so the money is distributed over time instead of the charity that you want to give money to getting a bulk lump sum upon your death.
And a lot of times people don't know what to do with all this money when they get it, and they don't use it wisely. So when it comes out in increments like that, it's
Wounded Warrior Project.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one. That was the death knell of Wounded Warrior Project. Mm-hmm. Everybody was donating, and they got so much money, all of a sudden they started being stupid.
Yep.
And that's what you don't want. You don't want necessarily any entity to get a giant chunk. So I'm going to start talking to my clients about this, that we might need to have set up instead of money going directly to a charity, maybe setting up upon their death, setting up a specific account at the Community Foundation.
That's a great idea.
For the benefit of the charity, but the money is held away and the charity doesn't get it all at one time. So I'm going to start having that conversation. But anyway, so So Jennifer and I met with the Community Foundation. We created an endowment account, but you have to have money in the account to get the thing kicked off, because you have to create materials that you can hand out to people. You have to be able to pay them for sending thank you notes. I mean, there's money that you have to put some money aside.
Seed money
to get the thing kicked off. So I provided the seed money last year to get this whole thing kicked off. And because I did that, they named a room in the library after me. It's a brand new study room. Anybody who has a business, an individual, a family can call the library, and you can reserve this study room, and it's soundproof, and it has 8 chairs, and it has a flat screen television. So let's say
a camera, so you can do web meetings and such.
So if you were going to do a web meeting with another entity across the country or wherever in the world, you could use this study room, and you could log in, and you could talk live to people anywhere to do some kind of a meeting. I mean, and it's available to anyone.
For no cost.
No charge, and it's brand new. And so my name is on a plaque on the front, and which is whatever.
It was just really cool.
It's really nice of them to do that, to honor me.
And you know, getting to meet Jennifer yesterday and several of the board members.
They're phenomenal.
They're phenomenal. What a great group of people on that board.
I love it so much. I can't even tell you. I was just vibrating. I was so excited about the whole thing. I was until probably noon. I was so on a high of this thing because of the potential of good that they're doing in the community.
That's right.
And so it's not just about going and checking out a book. You can go to the library and you can check out a state park pass, or you can check out a free pass to go to the Tubman or the Children's Museum. They have branched off into way more than checking out a book. And if you have an e-reader or you like to listen to books, you can go and do it for free. And you go in, they will tell you they will explain how to do it, how to download books on your phone so you can listen in your car for no charge. It's free. There's so many more things than just checking out a book, and computers and they have the largest genealogical research center in the Southeast. They offer classes now on how to start a small business or a nonprofit. They have the Foundation Center, which you can use to apply for grant money. It's unbelievable what's there, right there on Washington Street.
And, you know, it's a great place to take your child, too. You know,
oh, my gosh.
Our daughter has even just started taking their child to the library. He can't read yet. He's only 1 year, a little over 1.
For story time.
Just for story time. So he's getting him accustomed to going and doing things like that. But literacy is essential to development and success in life.
For a person and a economy. For our local economy, we have to increase our graduation rate. We've got to get kids reading at grade level in 3rd grade.
That's right.
There's no question. This is a huge issue, which is why I'm behind her 100% and everything that they're trying to do to increase literacy in Middle Georgia. So anyways, very cool.
And you have a challenge.
What?
Your challenge to people is to
what? To give?
To donate.
Yeah, I don't want to pander to our audience here.
No, but if you have a extra $1, you want to donate somewhere, that's a good place to go.
It is a great place to go. And so if you go to the Washington Memorial or Washington Library website, there's a link to the Community Foundation page, and you can donate online. And I'm gonna donate every year. I've decided I'm giving money every year because I love Jennifer and I love her team. I've never seen such a committed, smart bunch of people that are making good things happen. We have a board meeting every month, and her report is literally 2 pages long of everything they accomplish in a month. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I'm just blown away. And so
this is a good fit for you because you've always been behind literacy programs when you were with the United Way.
Right.
I mean, all the way, as far as I can remember, you know, it's like you've been reading to our kids, you've been the Read to Succeed and more. So
and we read like 50 books a year a piece.
Yep.
We're big readers. I mean, always have been since, in fact, in the 3rd grade, I was reading way above 3rd grade level because I started reading really young. And just
think about all the literature that we read every day. I mean, I can't even. Anyway, Sherri, congratulations.
Yeah, it was really nice. Thank you.
And before I move on to my next article, we've had numerous requests for us to put a blog on our website with these broadcasts that we do every Saturday.
You mean a podcast?
No. Podcast, excuse me. I said blog, but I'm working on a blog too. But the podcast is now on our website. If you go to retirerelax.com and you go to the resources tab, you will see WMAC Saturday radio show.
So last week's show is already on there?
It's on there. It's posted. It's approved.
Look at you go.
Go, man.
Hey.
So, but anyways, there, and it takes me probably about 3 days. I have to send this broadcast into compliance, and then I have to convert it to an MP4. Then I have to send it back to compliance. So it takes several days to get it on there, but I'm going to try to have it done every week. So
wow.
So anyway, moving forward.
Moving on. So baby boomers.
Baby boomers. Title of this is Baby Boomers Up in the Workforce One Last Time. Baby boomers are entering the final years in the workforce, and some companies are considering offering older workers partial year employment and shorter hours. The youngest baby boomers are around 55 years old, and the oldest are in their 70s.
I have 70-year-old clients that still work full-time, and their companies beg them every year to come back. And beg them because there is no one to replace them.
Well, that's what this article is really about. And in the next 5 years, almost 3/4 of the companies surveyed expect to face significant moderate challenges from late retirements because it's hard for them to replace those workers economically. And some of these skill sets are, they're not anything that you can just go pick up out of school somewhere.
Right. Especially somebody that's been doing something for 35 years and they have all the knowledge of that. You can't even transfer that to another person.
And that's the problem, is replacing the knowledge and the skills that those older workers have. So managers were asked to compare the business challenges of employee retirement over the past 5 years to the next 5 years in each of the categories in the survey and in the years to come. But the biggest reasons that they found were that baby boomers' retirement dates are a moving target because exactly what you said, some workers, some baby boomers, they just don't want to quit working. You take a look at Steve. I mean, he's 75 years old?
I don't even know how old he is.
But he is in great shape and he doesn't want to quit working. But we know lots of other people who just enjoy being in the workforce.
And I know a lot of people that would like to keep working, but they really hate their jobs. And I tell them, things are shifting so fast. There's so many opportunities coming open and so many gaps as far as where employees are needed. You don't have to stay in the job that you hate. I mean, just look at other opportunities. You've got so much talent and so many skills that can transfer into other things. But I do see a few people that are just absolutely sick of their work.
Yep, and a Gallup poll in 2018 showed that 41% expect to be working beyond the age of 65, which is a huge jump. And, it's not all about just them enjoying it. Some people haven't saved properly, but they're having to keep working for that reason. But
my clients want to work until full retirement age.
Right.
That's their goal, is get, 67.
But there's a lot of people working past that 72 number. Anyway, and today no one knows. The second reason was nobody knows what retirement means anymore. As more workers become consultants or accept temporary contractor gigs, their relationship with their employers is changing. Boomer ties with their employers may be more tenuous from the start. In the end, their bonds are more likely to unravel piecemeal rather than just saying, today is the date I'm retiring, and they walk out the door. You take a look at guys from the military. A lot of these guys, they take their skills once they retire, and they become consultants, and they just kind of keep pushing that noodle down the road. But a lot of folks just don't know what retirement means. And
they're so young.
That's
right.
They're
healthy, and it's like, what am I going to do all day?
And a lot of companies are offering these older employees partial year employment and shorter hours, and the senior citizens or the baby boomers are taking them up on that. The third reason is it's hard to generalize across industries, but these people retiring, but funeral homes, religious organizations, bus drivers, florists, real estate agents, and they're getting a lot of these post-retirees that are wanting to go into the industry. And we know people who have retired and they've gone into the real estate business, and they like it because they work at their own pace, and it's just really nice for them. So anyway, retirement is not exactly what you might think it is anymore. And if you are a baby boomer and you are facing retirement, or you are retired already and you just kind of feel like you're just sitting around doing nothing, take a look. That there are opportunities out there for you. So
let me throw a couple of ideas from a couple clients of mine. Right. So I have a client that retired. She was a corporate trainer, high level for years, and she retired with a pension. And she's like, Sherri, I've got to do something. I'm not contributing anything to the world. I've got to do something. I still have so much to give. And so she went and got her a substitute teacher certificate.
Right.
And started substitute teaching. And then parents kept coming to her and saying, hey, can you tutor my child? They need tutoring.
Yeah.
And so she now is working out of her home, tutoring children. And I said, what are you tutoring? And she said, basic math, basic reading, and phonics. And I said, wait a minute. I said, the schools aren't teaching phonics anymore. And she goes, yeah, that's why the kids can't read, because they went to sight words, and it's not working for all kids. All kids are different. And so she's making $50 an hour teaching these children. She said it is so gratifying to see these children get it and learning and doing better in school. She's absolutely so excited about what she does every week and the impact she's making on young people.
That's awesome.
And making money on top of it.
Yep.
And loving it. So it's not the end of the world. If you're sick and tired of the career you have, think about what it is that you're passionate about, and there might be something out there that you could do on your own. And she's contracted through an online company that handles all of, like, the parents pay her through the online company. They don't write her a check. And so I can't remember the name of the company, but there's all sorts of gigs like that of people picking up that kind of thing in retirement.
Right. And, if your plan A was to work for a company for 20 years and get the gold watch, that's just not how it's done much anymore.
Everything is shifting, too.
It is.
Technology is shifting everything. And so I see people also who are in a job where they're all of a sudden miserable because of technology.
That's right.
There's so much change so fast that they feel left behind. But that doesn't mean you are left behind. It might mean that you need to make a change.
And your plan B could take the skills that you had learned at that job and, figure out what you can do with them that makes you happy. So, but you know what? Moving on, talking about these.
There's a phone
hang
call?
on. No, we have to do a PSA here.
Already?
You're listening to Randy and Sherri Goss from Rosenberg Financial Group. The show is called Your Money, and we're glad you're joining us today. You can come see us for a free consultation, and we have offices in Macon and Warner Robins. Give us a call at 478-922-8100. We have a website. Just go to retirerelax.com, and we have a lot of free resources there that you can take advantage of. And is that good enough, CT? All right, cool. All right.
He wasn't listening.
He just gave us the finger to get the PSA in there. But anyway, McDonald's and AARP have teamed up to hire older employees.
I want to see how this works out.
Me too. I mean, but McDonald's prides itself on teaching teens the value of $1 and giving them their first job. And
teens aren't working anymore.
Yeah, they are too. Not many. Not like it was.
Not like ours and our generation did.
All right. But it's not just catering to the younger generation anymore. They've teamed up with AARP and the AARP Foundation. And for the first time ever, 5 generations are now working under the arches, which is pretty cool. And, I've been to McDonald's where there's an older person behind the counter or just being a greeter or cleaning up, and they look perfectly happy.
I had a lady come to me about 5 years ago. Her husband died, so they had been living on he had a pension from the base. He had Social Security and her Social Security check, and they were fine living in their house. Mm-hmm. And he passed away, and so those 2 income streams went away. She got his Social Security, but now she's down to 1 check a month. And she said, Sherri, we sat and we went over her finances. She was living on nothing and couldn't make it. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't want to move out of my house. I said, the only option is to increase your income and to get some kind of a job. Yep. I said, so, and she's like, and she was also somewhat depressed, isolated, just depressed. The whole losing your spouse is such a horrific thing anyways, and she didn't have family here, and she was alone, and it was just bad, and she really needed to get out of the house. So about 6 months later, I stopped at McDonald's to get a cup of coffee on the way somewhere, and she was there. She was a hostess, and she was like cleaning tables and greeting people as they came in the door, and I gave her a hug, and she said, Sherri, this is the best thing for me.
Right, that's
she
awesome.
said, my entire life has changed. I love all the people here. I love what I'm doing. I'm making extra money. She said, this is just and it gets me out the door, gets me out of the house every day. I love this.
It gives them the ability to continue to grow and thrive while bringing stability to their lives, but giving the younger workers their perspective from their points of view. But that's pretty cool. But the nice thing is with McDonald's doing this is there's no shortage of the baby boomers still looking for a job. So, if you are just maybe getting into the workforce and you don't know what to do, but you don't want a college degree, let's talk about that for a second. I have a list here of jobs that pay really good money, pay more than, say, $79,000 a year. But one of the things that get people hung up is they want to go. The push is that people need to go to college, and that's not necessarily true. So if you are maybe not wanting to go to college, but you're maybe looking to get into a trade, that's what this article is about. Because one of the problems with college is if you're not geared for it, or if you get into a college program that doesn't really have a good return on investment, say
it's a ripoff.
It's a ripoff because young folks are coming out of college with $100,000, $200,000 in debt, and they may never ever pay that off. But anyway, let's see here. I'm just going to read you a list of these jobs that you might be interested in. Media and communications equipment workers. That pays about $79,000, almost $80,000 a year. And I will tell you, while I've got you on the line here, that the Air National Guard is hiring right now. And if you wanted a job in many of these career fields that I'm going to...
So the base?
At the base. In National Guard in general. It's not just the base. It's not just the Air National Guard. It's the Army National Guard as well. And a lot of the jobs that are in this list come directly... you can get training.
Really?
Absolutely.
So you're talking... So you talked to one of your friends this morning. I know you guys were texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And he used to be... He
and I were enlisted together, and then we both got our commissions, and now he is a one-star general working out of the Pentagon. And I emailed him.
So is he still active guard?
He is.
Okay.
So I emailed him this morning, and I said, what does the Guard bring to Georgia monetarily? And economically, a year is over $800 million.
That seems low.
Well, there's a lot of other stuff that goes with it, but think about this. When I was in the Guard, and I was at the 202 EIS, which is an engineering installation squadron. Basically, it's COM. You do everything from putting a telephone pole in the ground to fiber optics and everything. You can get all that training, and then you go back out in the workforce.
Get paid to get the training.
That's right. Get paid to get the training. You go back to your civilian job, or even get a better civilian job with the training you just got. But right now, So
you're talking about people going through basic and all of that and then just picking up a 1 weekend a month gig.
That's correct.
And then you get all the training and then that qualifies you for all these other jobs.
That's correct.
But you don't have to pull a full-time gig, but you might get picked up to get deployed. That's the risk.
That is the risk. But the training you get is phenomenal. Anyway, if you are interested in the Guard, I would tell you to call 1-800-2GO-ANG, and that'll get you to a recruiter.
It sure worked out good for you.
It sure did. I know a lot of other people who feel the same way about their careers that they've had with the Guard. And if you don't have the money to go to school, to pay to go to a tech school, this is a great way to get that. Let's see here. I mentioned the media and communications equipment workers. There's power plant operators, elevator installers. I don't think they have that in the Guard, but powerhouse and substation and relay and electronics repairers. Detectives and criminal investigation, that would go into the MP category. Commercial pilots.
I didn't know you could just have a high school diploma and a pilot's license. I didn't know you could just become a pilot, a commercial pilot with just a high school diploma.
Right.
I don't know how I didn't know that until I read this article.
Go down at that. There's a place in Florida you can go and get certified to become a pilot, but then you have to work up through the ranks of number of flight hours and things like that. So, but like Delta may or any of the major airlines,
there's a shortage of pilots right now.
They may have a requirement to have a degree, but
you can go in the military
right.
enlisted now and become a pilot. You don't have to be an officer anymore. They changed that last year because they have such a shortage.
Right. Power distributors and dispatchers, and there's a bunch more. But
these are all paying over $80,000 a year.
That's right. So there's a lot that's out there for...
But here's the big one. The last one to me is the big one. Transportation, storage, and distribution managers. Median annual wage, $94,000. Oversee the allocation and shipping of merchandise in the most cost and time-efficient manner.
Amazon.
I mean, this is all these distribution centers are desperate for people to come help run this stuff.
Yep.
And there's only more coming. I mean, there's more being built everywhere.
And if you wouldn't talk to a recruiter, just talk to them about logistics. And
yes, logistics would be the
that gets you in the right category, right?
And if you could go get all the training for logistics, do a 1 weekend a month gig with the Guard, and then have a full-time job at Amazon or so, making $100,000 a year, you're killing it.
Yep, doing good.
Pretty amazing.
All right. And we talked in the past about typical workers in the oil field business.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on.
I've got an article here that says typical workers pay nearly $200,000 at oil refiners, and this
is the Permian Basin.
It is, and that just goes to the supply and demand side of things. That this is a very hard life, basically, and it's very specific to you can't really go out and get a job anywhere else other than with other companies, but in the same industry. But anyway, if you've got skills, mechanical skill sets,
yes,
you could just go out there,
step into this,
and you could be making a lot more money.
You got to move to Texas,
yeah,
and you're going to be living in a dorm room kind of thing,
maybe a trailer,
Yeah,
but
you can call the recruiter. They have recruiters full time because there's a bunch of jobs. It lists all these jobs, but the average pay in the Permian Basin is $200,000 a year because they're having to attract people to even be able to do these jobs. So I printed out the jobs posted in the last 2 weeks, just the first 2 pages. So there's mechanics, there's an HR representative, oil field recruiter. So you contact the recruiter and you tell them, what you have. You got a high school diploma and you got this and whatever. What could you do out there? And you could start and probably learn because they're so desperate for people. Here's the one that got my eye. Let me see. Benefits consultant with AFLAC. $3,000 a week.
Yep.
You're going to make. If you're an AFLAC agent, you need to apply for the job in Odessa, Texas, and make $3,000 a week. It's full time. It's an AFLAC's regional office.
It's a benefit consultant, so all you have to do is learn their...
it's nothing. Insurance license takes nothing to pass.
That's right.
It is so easy. But you would have to already be, I think, in management level with AFLAC to get that job. They're not going to take just somebody off the street. I mean, you'd already... But there's tons of people right here in Middle Georgia that are AFLAC agents, and they're probably struggling and scraping.
And they're not making $12,000 a month.
No.
That'd be worth packing the truck up and taking a trip.
I would, in a heartbeat.
Yep.
If it was just me and by myself. Like back in the day when I was by myself working in that nursing home in Spokane, Washington, I had nothing but some really ratty furniture and a car. That's really all I had. If I had something like this, if I could get that, I'd move and I'd take everything to Salvation Army and just drive out there and start over from scratch. It's just the opportunities are crazy.
They are crazy. So if you're mobile, you don't have ties to an area, and you feel like this is a great opportunity, it is. Just go look in that area in the help wanted, and I think you'll find what you're looking for.
And I just went on Indeed.com and I just put in Permian Basin jobs. They probably need medical people. They probably need. I mean, they've got everything from HR to general managers to insurance to mechanics.
Basically everything.
Everything that you could think of. Let's see here. Well technician. I mean, there's stuff in here that you're not going to know how to do, but there's other stuff that you could probably go get on-the-job training because they're so desperate for people. Lead compressor mechanic. I have no idea what that means.
That means it's a compressor and you fix it.
Okay.
Like an air compressor?
You could go do that.
I could. I wouldn't enjoy it, though.
Kind of warm out there.
I'd be one of those disgruntled
you don't
baby
like
boomers.
You were covered in grease the first 10 years of your career in the military, so that's kind of behind you.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Anyways.
Plus I have a tendency to get injured more.
There you go.
So I have to have a big box of Band-Aids with me. Let's see here. Let's skip that next one, Sherri.
The Gen Z.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it either.
Yeah, but I want to talk about something a little that maybe can save
Let me
people
talk
some
about
money.
this.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So I did, House and Healthcare is so fantastic. In Warner Robins, they have education programs at the Pavilion, which is the old mall, and the people that run it are just super nice. And they run diabetes management, health, how to eat healthy meals, weight control. I mean, all sorts of cancer WellFit, heart disease WellFit. They run all these programs, and they're absolutely free for people to go to. In fact, we have a friend that was teaching, I think she was teaching yoga. I'm trying to remember.
Yoga and Pilates.
Pilates. So she was teaching that, and people could come to that for free. Well, every year they put on this thing in Perry called Senior Camp, and they invite me to come speak, and I've done it for years, and it's really fun. About 300 seniors that come out, and they pay $5 to have speakers for a day, and treats and prizes, and just a nice event. And so this year I was struggling with what to talk about, and so I decided to focus on what can seniors do to save money? And I had fun going down this rabbit hole. So one of the topics I spoke about was cell phones, because everybody spends a lot of money on their phones, and we feel kind of stuck in that. And so I talked about the fact that AT&T and different T-Mobile and Verizon have all these senior plans. Well, this lady raises her hand, and she says, I switched my smartphone to Straight Talk, and for $55 a month, I got unlimited talk, text, and data, plus a hotspot that I use to run my computer and my tablet.
And that's $55 per phone.
And it's just her.
Right.
It's just her, a single person, $55, but she doesn't have to have internet because she can use the Straight Talk to get the hotspot to do her internet at her house. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't have that other expense from a cable or nothing.
Right.
And so everybody was like, wow, everybody really perked up on that one. So I came back to the office and I told Randy about it. And I said, they have these plans for people 65 and over. I said, it makes me wonder why we're paying so much money. And so you picked up the phone and called Verizon.
And we streamlined our bill a little bit. We got rid of some things we didn't need. And
we were paying $167 a month for 2 phones with unlimited everything and hotspots.
Well, it had insurance on there, which we canceled that. And there was one other thing that I thought we didn't need anymore, so I got rid of that. And then I told the lady, I said, I'm looking at flipping over to Straight Talk. What do you know about them? Because my understanding is Straight Talk was part of Verizon at one point. And she says, well, you know what? It may not be as good as us. They went through all these little excuses, but it really, everyone we talked to, went online and checked it out. It was all really good. And I said, well, what else can you do to bring the cost down? And she says, well, we do have this senior program. I'm like, well, gee, why didn't you start with that? And
but it's for 55 and over. It's not even 65.
That's right, 55 and older. And
I'm not a senior. I resent that.
but we were able.
But I'll take the free money.
Sure, I can't. It was $90 a month for 2 phones
instead of $167.
That's right.
And if we do automatic bill pay, they're going to knock off another $10 a month.
And
so half
it's
price.
Just phenomenal. But I did get a message back from them late Friday that it's not offered in this area yet, and they're rolling it out slowly across the country. So I told the lady, I said, well, then I'm probably going to flip over to Straight Talk. So they're talking to people
to try to squeeze it in.
Try to squeeze a deal in there. So because we've been with them for like 20 years or something like that. So anyway, talk to your cell phone provider, see what they can provide. Talk to any of your providers, cable or whatever. And it's just funny. We've done it several times with cable. They go, no, we'll take another $10 off your bill. Stay with us.
But here's the question. How do they know I'm not 65? How do they know I'm not a senior? We should have said I'm 65 and you're 65. What are you going to do for us?
They don't have one that's 65. It's just...
They only have the 55?
Yeah.
Because I've got right here, Verizon's 65 Plus plan is $29.99, but it's 200 minutes and unlimited text messaging and 2 gig of internet, which that doesn't work for us.
She did not mention that one.
Well... I wonder what would happen if you called back and said, well, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you we're 65.
I think your morals would just melt down inside of you. The ethics. Remember that ethics class you took? The CBT?
But really, how do they know how old you are?
They don't.
Do we ever put that down when we apply for a phone?
I think it's in there somewhere.
I don't think they ask us.
I think it's in there somewhere.
I want to talk to them about that. That's discrimination. Why do you have something special for people over 65 and I'm 58? Why can't I get that?
Because you're still making money, Sherri.
They don't know that.
Well, come on. Don't be a beggar.
I'm just saying.
I'll go get you a tin cup and you can sit outside Verizon, okay?
But anyway,
Alms for the poor.
So I just question everything, as you know. So if you want to do some, if you want to get some information about saving money on cell phones, I encourage you to go to Clark Howard's website, Clark.com. He has a special report about everything. He has totally ramped up his website to the point it's way better than it used to be.
It's phenomenal.
And he has a special report about how to save money on cell phones. And he goes through every company and every option that you could want to look at and learn about.
And
next you're going to talk about cable, right?
And this also came from Clark's website. And if you're paying an astronomical cable bill every month with 600 channels which you don't watch, you really might want to consider saving yourself some money and cutting the cable. So how do you do that? That's the question that I get asked all the time, and it's really, really easy.
Right.
The first thing you're going to have to do, though, is you're going to have high-speed internet connection. So for us, we cut the cable. We just called Cox and said, get rid of the cable, television side of it, keep the internet coming in, high-speed internet, and from there, we just got a Roku, and we pay $5 a month for that, and most everything on that, like Hulu and stuff, is for free. And we have a Netflix account, which we share with other family members.
We don't pay for.
We don't pay for. They share it with us, actually. But
and then Amazon Prime.
But you could really, on Clark's website, there's a section in there about truly cutting the cable, where you don't even have to have internet coming into your house. So,
one of the things we have in the bedroom is the Mohu.
That's what I'm getting ready to talk about.
Oh.
It's a Mohu is literally just an antenna. It's about the thickness of a credit card and the size of 8.5.
It's like a large fly swatter.
Yeah, it is. 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and you can hide it behind your television. And in the Macon area, you can pick up between 19 and 23 channels, and it gets you the major networks.
Unless it's raining. If it's stormy out, you're not going to get much.
You'll get the stronger ones, and it depends on where you live and things like that. But you can go to mohu.com and type in your address. And there's 5 things that they want to get from you, and that's your zip code, your street, and your city and state. And then from that, you just hit submit, and it will tell you which type of Mohu antenna will give you what channels. And like I said, there's only like 6 or 7 you can choose from. But I went out and looked at other of these types of antennas online, and there's a lot of them out there.
A lot of competition,
probably. A lot of competition now. So you can get some that depending on the power, that might reach to Atlanta, to the south side of Atlanta, and get you more channels. But that's
expose you to radiation.
Yeah, maybe. You can fry a hot dog in front of it.
You have to put on a tin hat. You have to put aluminum foil on your head.
Yeah, and just stand in front of your window and look cagey. But you can. This really does work well. So our cats get indoctrinated with all the old shows like Lucille Ball and
I turn
Andy
on
Griffin.
It's Me TV.
Yeah.
Is the one with the Green Acres and I Love Lucy and all of those old Yeller or whatever.
But anyway, this is a great way if you are not home a lot, you want to read books a lot, maybe catch an occasional show. This is a great
Channel
way.
13 News.
Channel 13 News. Yeah, especially on Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock. But anyway, it's a great way for you to save some money. So if you're paying a lot on cable, this is a great way to do it. So go to the Clark Howard website and
Clark.com.
Clark.com.
But he's got tutorials even of how to do this.
Yeah.
He's gone the extra mile with videos.
Is great.
I was so impressed. I had been on his website for a while, and I was shocked at how he's transformed the website.
Yep.
So one last parting thing on this business of cable. So I'm talking about all these things to these seniors, and I get done with my thing, and I'm walking down out the building, and this lady, sweet little lady, comes up to me, and she says, "Thanks so much for coming out. I really enjoyed that." And she said, "But I'm afraid I'm stuck paying $100 a month for cable." I said, "Why?" She said, "I live in an assisted living facility, and it's part of my expenses." I said, what? I said, "You can't opt out of that?" And she said, "No, it's mandatory. It's part of my expenses, and I don't even watch TV, and I'm paying $100 a month for cable."
Wow.
Which is a rip-off. That's money she could be using toward food or medicine or clothing or what a scam.
Which assisted living facility?
I didn't ask. I'm sure they're all doing it if it's happening to her. So here's the deal. If you are in this industry and you are a disruptor, I suggest that you go disrupt nursing homes and assisted living facilities and ask the administrators, why are you forcing everyone to pay $100 a month for cable that they probably don't even watch, or they could go to a common area and watch it with other people.
Right. It's expensive.
They're not all running it in their room all the time. And if they have high-speed internet, which they're probably also paying for, they could flip over to a Roku or some other option that is way cheaper and save all that money.
Wow.
I think somebody needs to step up to the plate and go attack this with a vengeance. I think it's wrong to make seniors pay for something they don't need.
I agree.
And then she said on top of that, the food's horrible. Somebody needs to fix that. So she's in a place where she's scammed out of money, paying for food she doesn't like and cable she doesn't watch, and she's very frustrated, and she cannot be the only one. So you have a huge opportunity here. Somehow, somebody needs to go and fix this. I don't know how you fix it, but I felt sorry for her. I'm not doing that. Nobody's going to force me to pay $100 a month for cable. I would refuse. I would picket. I think they all need to take up their picket signs and go outside and call Channel 13.
Sherri, if we ever go to an assisted living facility, I will get you a poster board, tape it to the front of your walker, and you can go up and down the sidewalk, all right?
Seriously, don't make me pay for something I don't use. I haven't had to do this my whole life, and now you're forcing me now because I'm old. I'm forced to pay for something I don't even want. I think they should rebel.
It sounds like a business model that's just gone, been perpetuated amongst all the different
people assume things. You assume, oh well, I have to pay for this because I have no choice. Well, guess what? You have choices. You need to go out there and fight this one. And maybe you need somebody out there in the high-tech industry needs to go meet with these people and say, we got to fix this.
And y'all, if you ever sit across from Sherri when she gets into one of these little rants, you can see the fire in her eyes, man. It's awesome.
Flames coming out of my head.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
We're going to need to call the vein specialist. You get this one coming right on your forehead here.
But it's just wrong to make old people pay for something they don't need.
I agree.
That's just, there's something terrible about that. And I'm sure that everybody, and they just accept it like, well, that's what I have to do. I don't think so. I don't think you should accept it anymore. I think you need to fight it, change it, fix it.
Yep.
Enough of that.
What you got next?
Okay. So, if you're angry about your tax return, we've probably talked about this before. We owed a pile this year because they cut the state, our Schedule A. We barely were able to do a Schedule A itemization, and they cut the state deduction, the state tax deduction, to the point where it didn't even help us anymore. Anyways, if you are frustrated with how much you paid, please fix your withholding. It was so easy. All I had to do, I use a payroll company for us because I run my own payroll. I tried to go on the website and figure out how to do it. I couldn't find it, and so I emailed my contact, and she's fixing it for me. Adjust your withholding. Take how much you owed for last year, divide it by the remaining months of this year, and that's how much your withholding needs to go up so you don't owe again next year. Mm-hmm. And if you're a federal employee, they have a brand new retirement information center, according to the website. And there are people there that will help you, and it's opm.gov/retire is the website, opm.gov/retire, or you can call their temporary tax line, which I don't know if it's still open, 800-307-8298 between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and fix your withholding. Please do it so you're not mad next year.
Right, because a lot of people were expecting, $1,000 to $3,000 what they normally got back every year, and this year they had to pay a little bit. Now, Sherri, let's talk about why. So,
our daughter's a perfect example.
Exactly. Well, we are too. So we had to pay this year.
But that's because of Schedule A changes.
Right.
Most people don't have that big a deal.
That's right. But most folks, they got more in their paycheck every month. The way things were changed, but they dropped the percentage on the deduction, and they really didn't advertise that very well. So people were getting more in their paychecks every month
and paying less in withholding.
Less. And so that's why. So I had a person the other day that I said, yeah, we had to pay taxes this year, and they're like, well, how's that Trump tax return thing going for you? I'm like, it's not about that. It's because I got more in my paycheck every month than I was getting, and they lowered the tax percentage. And anyway, you're still liable for it if you owe it.
You don't want to owe the IRS.
You don't want to owe
You do not want to make monthly payments. They gouge you with interest and penalties. It is worse than a student loan. It is a nightmare.
Yep.
So if you owe this year and you're struggling to pay what you owe, you don't want to go through this again.
No.
And the problem is people that owe are trying to make payments, and then they're having to change their withholding to make it greater so they don't owe next year, which cuts into their pay now, which are already trying to pay a bill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for certain people in a certain economic level, it is really a whipsaw.
But at least the IRS this year is they have good programs now. But the interest rate is what, 6% compounded monthly?
6% plus penalties. It's terrible.
Horrible. But anyway, Sherri, we got about a minute.
Oh,
what would you like to?
So we are
about?
Randy and Sherri Goss with Rosenberg Financial Group. We have offices in Warner Robins and Macon. We offer complimentary consultations with either Steve Rosenberg or myself. We sit down and talk about whatever you want to talk about. So when to take Social Security, have you saved enough money to retire? What's your income going to look like in retirement? How much debt do you still have? How are you going to pay that off? I mean, the whole 9 yards. Do you have parents that are depending on you to help them out? Do you have children that you are still funding because they need help? I mean, what is the big picture? I like to look at the whole big picture, from what insurance do you have? What are you going to do about health care? All these things make such an impact on whether you can afford to retire. And so we go through all of that with you and figure out, is it doable? Is it not? What do you need to get done before you check out? So call us, 742-0940. Oops, that's a radio show. RetireRelax.com.
The views expressed on this show should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities are offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services are offered through Rosenberg Financial Group, a registered investor advisor not affiliated with Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated. Offices are located at 2517 Moody Road, Warner Robins, and 4875 Riverside Drive, Suite 201 in Macon. Phone numbers are 922-8100 and 741-4457.